Hey guys, I'm Dave.
And I'm Len.
And today we played Clash of Giants to, what is this, first Ypres in Galicia, 1914. I'm sure I mispronounced all of that.
Galicia is a different battle. It has two battles in there.
But yeah, we played the first Ypres battle. Why don't you tell them about it since it's your game?
Okay. This was the campaign right after the Battle of the Marne, because after everything was settled there was a big gap from about Paris to the North Sea, in which there was very few units. So both sides are racing to fill in the area. And both sides also are sending in the like second, third-rate units or newly raised units. So there's a lot of confusion and so
got to roll for the movement.
Yeah. Part of that reflected you have to roll for movement. So, and that's basically about. Also, one thing, there's 4 areas, and you can only make 1 attack in an area, and that's about the fact you might have some good attacks.
Mm-hmm. Actually, that didn't become an issue in the game because most of the areas we were in where there was an attack, that was really the only place you wanted to attack. So I'm sure there'd be games you had where it would be an issue, but I think in most it would not. Oh, and by the way, we forgot to mention this is a World War I game. I know most people aren't too familiar with World War I, so I thought I'd point that out.
And this is GMT's version of a simple game.
Yeah, actually, this one's playable. It's kind of a weird game with rolling for the movement, and like you said, where you can only have 1 attack per area. But actually, it's really playable, which is unusual for GMT games. So good for them for finally getting a playable one out there. It's not their only playable one, but we've played so many where it was a little too complicated.
Yeah, and this one, the situation is that you started with very few units on the map. You had a wide open terrain. You didn't have to, unlike other World War I games, you didn't have a trench line.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there was a lot of maneuvering. Mm-hmm. In fact, part of it is like, since you have to roll for movement, you're racing to get to various objectives. Because you win, there's 9 objective cities and towns. And of course, you got to get the... somebody's going to have 5 or more.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, Germans ended up winning this one with 5.
Yeah, this was a close one.
Mm-hmm. Feels kind of like a World War II game because it's early war, World War I before there's really trenches. So it kind of felt to me more like the Germans moving through France during World War II when the Germans had invaded France. It feels more like that than a World War I game, even though it is a World War I game. It's and as far as early war, World War I, I'd say it's pretty accurate what was going on.
Yes. I was waiting for you to send all those new units with the question mark morale.
Mm-hmm. Oh, also in this... cavalry cannot attack infantry, so you can use them to cut off an infantry unit and put it out of supply, or you can use it even to take the objectives on the map. So you couldn't do cavalry charges to take out units or anything. So that was a little bit unusual.
Well, I think they had a rule that cavalry cannot attack infantry, so because all those machine guns would mow them down, even the few that the infantry had in those days. So. But
yeah, I thought it was pretty decent. The combat was a little strange too. Yeah. But why don't you explain that? Okay,
what it is that you have on the lower right hand side a TER, tactical efficiency rating. The defender rolls his TER. If it's equal to or less, he's fine. Otherwise, you lose a step and have to retreat a number of steps. And then the attacker rolls to see if they take any casualties. Again, if you roll above the TER, you take a step. And at times, you have modifiers based on your the combat ratio, whether you're 2 to 1, 3 to 1. And sometimes I felt like we should have just had one table. You just said 2 to 1, okay, roll that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Some of the guys are playing Flames of War probably like this, where both sides roll dice. So
Yeah, or Warhammer. Well, then again, Flames of War is just trying to be Warhammer in World War II. That's why it's historical fantasy,
Yeah.
in my opinion, instead of historical reality. Battlefront will tell you it's historical reality. Believe me, it's not.
oh really?
Yeah.
All right. But actually, this isn't a bad game. If you want to do a World War One game, you'd probably like this better because it's more maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I was telling him that at the beginning, it's more like you're racing to get to the objectives, and for the first quarter of the game, there's virtually no combat, and then you start. The Germans start getting objectives, so the French and British have to counterattack, and that's where it can get tricky.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right, so I would recommend this one. What about you?
Yeah, I would recommend it, but I was about to say that it probably takes about 3-4 hours, but it's a fun 3-4 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about the length you would want a game to be for a convention. If you're just playing on your own or something, you might want it a little bit shorter, but at a convention where you typically have a 4-hour slot, it'd fit in there perfectly.
Or if you're at home and you have 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
This is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as frustrating as World War One games where you have to storm the trenches and take heavy losses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is completely different than the last World War One game I played, where there's like artillery everywhere and units just being destroyed left and right. But even that game took a long time to play.
Yeah, and this one has a lower counter intensity,
Yeah.
so you could set up real quick. You could move, because a lot of times that you had you pick a chip to determine which units you move, and you have like 4 areas. So a lot of times, French C, well, I got no units there. Move on to the next one.
Was it one counter sheet for this, I would assume?
Yeah. Well, one counter sheet for this battle, and then the other one for
the other
Galicia.
battle? Yeah, that makes sense.
So, because that has a lot of Hungry Austrians and Russians.
Gotcha.
So, okay, yeah, this is it's like the second time I played. I know sometime in the future I'll play it again.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.